Good night, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Murphy's Law podcast. It's good to see and be with you. Hey, I'm going to ask you all, you know how we do this, right? I'm going to ask you to share it. I'm going to ask you to follow us on Facebook. I'm going to ask you to follow us on Instagram. I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the page on YouTube. I'm going to ask you to share the video. And of course, if you're listening to this anywhere that you can get your podcast, and that's on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, it's a whole variety of places you can listen to your podcast. I'm going to ask you to listen, to like, to follow, to subscribe to the Murphy's Law podcast. Thank you for being with me tonight. You know, every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's the Murphy's Law podcast. Let's apply wisdom. Of course, it's brought to you in collaboration with BOJ Clothing. You can go to the website bojclothing.com, www.bojclothing.com. And there you can find faith-based apparel. You can get messages of hope, love, faith, and it's because of Jesus. So go and check it out. Of course, my apparel that I'm wearing, I'm always repping BOJ. So I got on the Free Because of Jesus hoodie and the Save Because of Jesus hat. You can go get your own. I appreciate every single one of you that listen, that watches. I need you to. This is what I need you to do. This is how I'm asking for your help. I need you to go over to YouTube, www.youtube.com/ at Murphy's Law Podcast. And I need you, please, to subscribe. Subscribe to that channel, and all of our episodes go there as well. Good night to you. Good morning to you, wherever in the world you are. It's 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am, but you could be in Africa. You could be in Asia. You could be in South America. You could be wherever. And so, wherever you're joining from, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here at the Murphy's Law Podcast. All right. Well, we have a really great topic tonight that I'm excited about, and we'll see what happens. So the topic for tonight is they lied. They lied. Yeah, they did. There is a rumor. There is a popular thought that's common, and it may not be just now, but it's been common for some time. And it's been shared so much and given so much that it's been accepted, or it's been widely accepted as this must be true. This is true. This is what it is, as many people say when they feel like there's no hope, when they feel like, well, I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. But I want us to talk about that for a little bit tonight. And I know you're waiting for me to say what that is. And I promise I'm going to say what it is. Uh, we live in an age where there is, man, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, which is now X, right? We have Facebook, we got TikTok, we got Threads, we got websites. We have a overload of information. Now, more than any other time period in the history of the world, right, or Earth, with the advancement of technology, there is just a overload of information. And it would seem like everybody knows the answer to relationships, to how to live a successful life, how to be a great parent, how to be a great husband, wife, fiance, brother, business person. It would seem like everybody has the answer. And from my vantage point, from where I look, it has become a world of confusion, I would say, misrepresentation, because there are so many thoughts, there's so many thought ideas, there's so many perceptions, and everybody, some people, I'll say, is given what they think. Some people are only sharing things based off of their experiences, based off of what they know, which is limited, right? And so everybody feels like they know the truth. Everybody feels like they know the way, the answer. They have the blueprint for everything. And so they tell you, if you want to be a successful business owner, this is what you got to do. If you want to have a successful friendship, this is what you got to do. This is how you got to treat people that treat you bad. I mean, the list goes on, but it's an overload of information. And the reason why it can be an issue is because all of us as humans, innately or instinctively, we have a desire to belong, a desire for companionship, for community, for a sense of purpose. And when this is not being fulfilled, or when you are unaware of what that is, you're going to search. And so the demand for the search has met the overload of information, and it has created a popular thought, or it has created a status quo. And ultimately, what has happened is a lot of the things that some of us, or maybe all of us, have come to believe, have come to agree with, it's a lie. It's not true. It's all right, Stephanie. What are you talking about? I'm glad you asked. So here it is. Somebody watching me right now, somebody listening to me right now, you think that because you're in your 50s, your 40s, your 60s, your 70s, you think you're too old. You might be a teenager, you might be 15, 16, 17, 18, you might be in your 20s. You think I'm too young. Or you might think, man, I'm not smart enough. My life has been hell. There's no way anything good can happen for me. And I'm here to tell you that that is a lie. It's not true. You don't have to buy a house by the age of 30. I'm not saying you can't. You could. You could buy a house in your teens. You're not too young. It all depends on the environment. But if the status quo tells the story, after a certain age, they'll tell you you can't have children anymore. After a certain age, they'll tell you you can't do this, you can't do that anymore. After a certain age, they'll tell you it's time to think about retirement, because starting a business or starting over, what in whatever capacity, is too late. And that's downright not true. It's so many people that are living their lives every day, and you have believed a lie. You've dumbed your life down. You've really made your life basic to, all right, well, I just got to make some money and, you know, try and save up for retirement, and that's it. Because the overload of information have made you feel like you're not smart enough, because you see 700,000 other people doing maybe what you had a passion for. You see people who maybe they can cook, maybe they got a clothing line, they got a business, or maybe they're successful in a relationship, and you're like, man, look how young they are, or look how established they look. It just can't happen for me. But tonight is the night where we establish that none of these status quo, none of these barriers and these false parameters that they put up, none of it is true. It's a lie. They lied to you. So let's go through it step by step. Let's walk through this together. Everybody here that's alive, each one of us, we got some really unique abilities, talents, gifts, and we have them for a reason. You do what you do like nobody else. And let's say, for example, let's take this podcast. There are 10 million podcasts going on, and they talk about 10 million different subjects and however it works, right? But nobody can do this like I can. The Murphy's Law podcast is not for anybody else to do but me. And so while there are many great podcasts out there, I'm sure, and I've listened to some of them, and some of them are much more established. They have a production team, they have cameras, they have lights, they have all these different things, and that's where they are. But just because they're doing that doesn't mean I can't do this. And just because they have 10,000 followers doesn't mean that what I have to say is less important or is not important because I only have 300 followers. And truth be told, I used to believe the lie too. Oh man, I'm not going to do that because don't nobody want to hear what I have to say. But there's people who need to hear what you have to say. There are people who need to experience your business mind. There are people who need to know that you can have a horrible childhood, you can have very devastating events, and you still can heal from it. You still can come out better from it. You still can come out on the winning end from it. And so it's not the end of the world. So it's really never too late. And in many cases, it's not too early. But status quo will have you to believe that that's so. So, how do we adjust this? How do we fix this? How do we move past this? Well, let me tell you, for everybody that's watching and for those that are listening, let me be the first to tell you, if you've never heard this before, I believe in you. I believe in your abilities. I believe in your gifts. The way that you're able to speak and communicate, I believe in it. Man, the way that you can cook that plate like nobody else can, even though there are 95,000 other restaurants, I believe in you. The way that you can love, even though people have hurt you, even though people have betrayed you, I believe in you. And you have something to offer. You have something that's valuable that the world needs to hear. I believe in you. That idea, that thought that keeps coming to you, that dream that you've put on the back burner, that you've put down, that you've come to believe that is not going to happen because you don't have all the steps to gain all the followers on Instagram and become the influencer and on TikTok and all of these things that possibly may have shaped what you believe and boxed you in. They are lies, and I believe in you, and you can do it. That thing that you keep putting off, that conversation that you don't want to fix, that relationship that you are afraid to mend or that you're afraid to even begin, that assignment, that journey, going back to school, all of these different things. I believe in you and you could do it. They lied to you. They told you that once you got to a certain age, your brain capacity begins to shrink or it begins to weaken. They lied to you. Or status quo says if you don't have the education, you don't have enough accolades, then you're not qualified to say certain things or to do certain things. They lied to you. The truth of the matter is, none of them gave you your abilities. Who? Which one of them did? Which one of them said, okay, I'm going to create you and you're going to be excellent at this? So I want to offer us together as we encourage each other and we apply some wisdom. I want to offer us some tips to breaking past status quo, breaking past barriers, and shutting down the lies, shutting up the rumors once and for all. Thank you for listening to the Murphy's Law podcast. Anywhere on any platform that you get this, please share it and like it. So the first thing, man, don't listen to anybody who's a doubter. Don't listen to them. And I encourage you to be very, very careful who you share your dreams with, who you talk to about your goals, about your ideas, about that business that you want to start, about that degree you want to get to help further you, whatever it is. Be careful of who you talk to. And that could be family. Just because somebody's your family don't mean they believe in you. Don't mean that they think the best for you. And a lot of times when people try to get you to do something outside of what you're dreaming or you've envisioned, it's because they're projecting on you their insecurities. Well, I could never do that. So there's no way you could do it. And we come from the same family. We're born in the same city. So if I can't do it and I can't see myself doing it, then you just need to get you a good job and retire. And that's it. So family or being blood related, that don't mean they automatically get to hear your dreams, because the experiences that many people have gone through have given them to be insecure, to be damaged, to have a lack of identity, no sense of purpose. So many times people are responding to you out of a dark place or a negative place. So don't listen to no doubter. You tell them you want to start the business and they start giving you all of the reasons why you can't. That's the last time you need to ever have any type of conversation like that with that person. Secondly, this is very, very important, and this works. Every one of us needs help. None of us can do anything alone. I would tell you and I would encourage you to pray and ask God for help. Now, here's the thing about help. Help is not something that just appears out of thin air. Help is actually going to come in the form of a person or people, even. So when you pray and ask God for help, or you ask God for strategy, a lot of times He'll send people to help you do what you've never done before, to help you accomplish what it is that you are dreaming or you're seeing it that some of them have already attained. So when you pray and ask God for help, it's not so that you could be self sufficient. This is not about being lazy. Laziness is a whole other thing. Being very pitiful, that's a whole other thing. I'm talking about trying to do everything by yourself, for yourself, you trying to get all the answers, you trying to do everything. You it's not going to work. So when you pray and ask for the help, then you got to look for the people that possess certain things. One, they believe in you. You need someone who's an encourager, someone who can see your full potential, even sometimes when you can't see it or you can't even feel it. I don't even feel like I can make this. I could do this. So people are our help. We need each other. Man, there's nobody here that got here by themselves. You were not born by yourself. Your mother had to push you out, and then your mother didn't get pregnant by herself. She needs your father. So we all need each other. It's a lie. Doing life on your own, being self sufficient, and thinking you can make everything happen on your own, that's not true. Now, you can try it. You're going to wear yourself out. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be exhausted, and so many other things. I don't encourage you to try it, but trust God to send the people that'll help you. Now, when the people come to help you, you got to accept the help. When I was younger, while I was learning to swim, I had a near drowning experience, I'll say. And I don't know if anybody has ever come close to experiencing that drowning, water getting in your mouth and in your nose, and you 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 taking water through your nostrils, and now it's in your head. It's a horrible experience. Feeling like you're drowning or actually drowning is a horrendous experience. But here's the thing I remember about drowning. All I know is I wanted help, and that's it. I just wanted somebody, please come help me. Please. Whatever you do, however you get me out of here, please come and help me. So while I was drowning, you know what I didn't say? I didn't say things like, oh, I only want a woman to help me. I only want a man to save me. And they got to be Jamaican. And they got to have a lot of money. And they got to have been knowing how to swim for at least 5 years. I need that person to save me. No, I needed help. I couldn't save myself. I bring up that story to highlight that when help comes, they know the way, the strategies to get you from where you are to the next stage, to the next level. Accept the help. You can't tell them now, okay, well, I don't want you to help me like that. Okay, well, I don't think it's going to work. Well, if you knew the way, you wouldn't be where you are, right? So one of the biggest things I've seen is that many people have stayed stagnant because they just didn't appreciate or value who the help came from or who the help was. But you don't get to choose that. It can't be about your preferences. It can't be about your biases. God choose who he want to send to help you. And sometimes that could be an unusual experience. I get it, but it's still the help. It might not be somebody that's your same ethnicity and your same background. I'm Jamaican. The person that sent to help me be better in business don't have to be Jamaican, don't have to be African American, don't have to be black, don't even have to be a man. So accept the help. When the help comes, look out for the help and accept the help. We all need help. Every last one of us needs help. And if you take the position that you're always going to try and make it happen for yourself, I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to try and make it. It's not going to work. Actually, I would even encourage you to think back. Think on all the major things that have ever happened to you. Think about when you really needed something, you were really in need, or you really needed some help, or you were waiting for this, or it could have been an answer, it could have been help, it could have been, well, when help in a financial way, it could have been help emotionally. But think about it. Think about any time, any point in time in your life. Wasn't it somebody else? Wasn't it another human that showed up? I remember when I was in high school, almost getting ready to go to college, and somebody gave me a car. Like no payments, no nothing. I literally received a car. I was in need of a car, and it was someone that gave me the car. They didn't need the car anymore. They were looking for somewhere to donate it to. And so at the time, the church I was going to, they knew they knew somebody there that was going to the church, and then they got in touch with the pastor, and then everybody knew that I was looking for a vehicle at the time or was in need of one, and I got a car because of people. Didn't have to pay for it. So this idea that you can do it by yourself, it's a lie. They lied to you. You need people. All right. Okay. The next thing, and this is very, very important. Don't you ever, well, I was going to say something else, but a different thought just came to my mind. So I'll say this thing first. Just do it, whatever it is. Whatever that thing is, please just do it. Just start the business. Just go fix the relationship. Just go say, I'm sorry. Just go enroll in school. Ju- just do it. Don't try to rationalize it. Don't try to do it. Now, of course, there's foundational things that you may need to know in order to, let's say, go to school. You got to know how to apply. You learn, find out what those things are, but just do it. You may have to call the person to have that conversation. You may have to get the phone number. You might have to send an email. However it is, just do it. Just do it. Don't doubt. Don't hesitate. Do it. And then once you do it, don't speak negatively about where you are currently. If you are committed to learning, committed to growing, committed to progressing, don't talk negatively about you where you are. You may have not been the best communicator, but now you've committed to learning that. Don't talk negatively about where you are. You may have just started a business. You may not have a flyer yet. Don't talk negatively about where you are. You may only have one customer right now, or your only customers might be your friends, people you know. Don't talk negatively about where you are. Don't look down on and devalue your humble beginnings or your small beginnings or the small steps that you're taking and making. That's a recipe for failure. And more than that, you know, you're going to go back into believing the lies and being stuck and being trapped and being unfulfilled. So don't talk about where you are negatively. And you may have a really big and vast dream, I mean, big aspirations. You want to have the best marriage, you want to have the biggest business, you want to have several locations all over the United States in different countries. Man, keep that dream, be open to that dream, and take it one step at a time. You're not going to have everything right away. All of us got to start somewhere. The big companies that you see, they had to start somewhere. The families that you see that have such great relationship, they had to start somewhere. Everybody got to start somewhere. So take it one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, and celebrate all the progress that you make. Anybody who I'm friends with, or we in any type of association, if I know you have a business or something that you're doing, working at, progressing at, I'm gonna encourage you. I'm gonna tell you you could do it. I'm gonna tell you do it. You need help? Do you need this? How can I help you? So be okay with being small right now. You won't be small forever. You won't always not be able to find the words to say. If you keep practicing, if you keep committing to, okay, I'm not just going to run away, I'm not just going to shut down, I'm going to take my time. And eventually, you'll see that you'll become the communicator that you always wanted, that you didn't get from your parents and you didn't get from past relationships, and that you so long for. Now you are that communicator. Now you got that healthy relationship. Don't believe the lie. Status quo will tell you can get it just like this. And you start at the top. Nobody starts at the top. It's a process for everybody. And everybody's journey is not the same. Now, I'm going to tell you what everybody has in common. Any successful person you see or have seen, I'm going to tell you what we all got in common. They just did it. Their process may have been different. Their strategies in some ways may have been different. Their journey may have been different. Experiences a lot of the times are going to be different, but they just did it. They didn't let the doubt, they didn't let the lies keep them from doing it. Because here's the truth, you never know. You never know who's watching, you never know who needs the help. And that one person could be the door to several connections. So it's not up to you and you only. And the last thing I'll tell you, and then we gonna have a good night. Don't believe the doubters. Don't listen to the doubters. Don't entertain their conversation. Don't believe the lies. So, thank you again for listening, watching, joining the Murphy's Law podcast. I appreciate everybody. Breland, I appreciate you. Onika, I appreciate you. And everybody that always tunes in and watches, that shares your comments, I appreciate you. If you listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pocket Radio, wherever, if you listen to this podcast, thank you. You're looking at a guy, you're listening to a guy who chose not to believe the lies, not to believe the status quo anymore. And I just did it. I used to think nobody want to hear what I have to say. Nobody's going to listen to me. And then I used to think, okay, I'll do it, but I don't have a camera. I don't have software. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to say. I don't know. But I just did it. I started out on Facebook, just doing Facebook Lives. And I just progressed. And so 6 seasons into Murphy's Law podcast, you see where I'm at now, and it's still growing. But I didn't start here. Even to this point that I'm at, I didn't start here. But one thing I did choose to do is not be boxed in by status quo, boxed in by the lies. There is so much fulfillment in pursuing the dreams that God has placed inside of you. Nobody wants to be in a dysfunctional environment and toxic environment for the rest of their lives. Nobody does. So you that commit to making sure your family don't stay in dysfunction, I believe in you. You that say, you know what, I'm finally going to start the business. I want to help people. Whatever business it could be a school, you could be a tutor, you could be a chef, a cook, you could be a mechanic, you could be an artist. If you know how to draw, draw. Draw. Don't stop drawing. Don't stop using your creativity. Just don't believe the lies. And we'll be all right. We'll get to the top of the mountain. I know I'm going to get up there, and I want to see all of us there together. You can get up there. I believe in you. Yes, I do. I love each and every one of you. And again, don't let status quo dictate to you what you will and won't do. Just do it. Jump in. This has been the Murphy's Law podcast. This season, I'm going to have some amazing guests, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be wonderful. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about manhood. We're going to talk about being feminine or womanhood. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Trauma. So stay tuned. Subscribe on YouTube at Murphy's Law Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Murphy's Law _podcast. Of course, please Facebook, like the page and follow it. www.facebook.com/mlawpodcast. I want to ask you to subscribe, man, like the page and share it so as many people can hear, as many people can watch. Until I see you again, wisdom seekers, it's been wonderful. They lied to us, but we know the truth now. We on the other side. We in the light. I love you. God loves you. Jesus loves you. We good. Until next time, let's apply wisdom. Good night, everybody. I appreciate you all.